the genie is out of the bottle, and there is no forcing it back in. The hordes of visual artists who fear AI's rise have, in a sense, already lost. The way I see it, the future of art depends on a single choice. Either artists transform with the technology, or die out as a new class of artists take your place. I've been watching The Gilded Age recently, and what fascinated me most was the story of the Russells and their push to be integrated into high society. By season 2, the central conflict becomes a battle between two opera houses, the Academy and the Metropolitan. The Academy represents the established order, the accepted way of doing things. The Metropolitan, on the other hand, is where all the new money congregates, because they weren't allowed entry into the old stock. The show frames this tension as old versus new, and I found myself constantly thinking, doesn't this map almost perfectly onto where we are with AI art right now? The Metropolitan, in my reading, is AI art. The Academy is traditional visual art. Painting, illustration, hand-drawn work. And just like in the show, the established class is resisting integration instead of doing the smarter thing and absorbing the newcomers on their own terms. This same pattern has played out before. Photography didn't kill painting, but it did become far more prevalent. Digital art supplanted hand-drawn animation and comic book illustration after its invention. AI art, I believe, will follow a similar path. Both will coexist, but the AI version will likely become the more dominant form over time. I want to be clear that I'm not necessarily advocating for AI art as a personal preference. What I am saying is that it is the unstoppable future, and the art world would be better off later by integrating it now, while they still have the ability to shape what it becomes. In the show, I kept wondering why the established elites didn't simply integrate the new money early. It would have been the more pragmatic move. You bring them in, you mold them, your standards are maintained, and you retain control. Instead, they chose exclusion, which only delayed the inevitable while surrendering the ability to influence the outcome. If the traditional art world casts off AI entirely, and AI art is left to develop on its own without any guidance from people who deeply understand the craft and all it takes, symbolism and intentionality, then a lot of what makes art powerful and beautiful risks being lost. Take for instance the artistic styles that are rooted in raw emotion or heavy symbolism. If the section of artists committed to those traditions decides to reject AI outright, then when AI eventually dominates those visual spaces, the nuance they carried will vanish with them. What's left would be vapid, generic output with no soul behind it. And that, to me, is the core problem with AI art as it currently exists for most people. A man types, "Draw me a picture of a flower," and the AI produces the most generic flower imaginable. That is not art. Art is a boy from the Bronx drawing a flower. Not just any flower, but the specific flower he passed every day on his walk home from school. The one he noticed because he thought it looked nice. The colors he chose to add were his favorite, and they were his favorite because they appeared in a show he loved as a child. That's what art is. It's a manifestation of the artist. It carries a piece of everyone who makes it, which is precisely why no two artists produce the same thing. But here's the thing. A hyperspecific, deeply intentional prompt can carry that same weight. If AI artists are trained to approach their prompts the way a painter approaches a canvas, then AI art doesn't automatically become slop. It becomes real. The artistry shifts from the brush to the language. And I think this evolution will happen naturally, but it will take a long time if the traditional art world refuses to engage with it. In that gap, I foresee a significant dip in the overall quality of visual art before AI art eventually matures on its own. But if integration happens, that collapse either doesn't occur or is considerably shorter. The last thing I want to touch on is the commercial and creative ecosystem that I think will emerge from this. I foresee different artists and groups developing their own distinct methods of writing prompts, their own prompt signatures, their proprietary prompts. The specific way of engineering language into imagery will become the art form itself, and it will be something you could trademark. A specific prompt style, tied to a specific artist, becomes their identity. The same way a director's visual style is immediately recognizable, or the way you can tell a Hopper from a John Martin just by looking at the canvas. With AI, the prompt is the brush. And if the AI artist class is integrated early, that tradition of individual artistic identity won't be lost. It'll just be expressed in a new mode. The Academy can keep its doors shut if it wants. But the Metropolitan is already filling up.